everyone, this is actually a refilm because my phone just went funny. So I'm hoping I can speak faster this time because I might be running out of space on my phone. Anyway. This is a video about the Eurovisionathon, and it is all about how I did and how well it all went, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to be talking about 1, the books I read, 2, the points they got, 3, whether I enjoyed them or not, 4, the songs I liked in Eurovision, and 5, how well I did in the overall Eurovisionathon. It probably won't be 5 separate things, but first I'm going to talk about the books I read and then we'll go from there. So I have read and talked about some of them in my update that I did in my previous video, where I was talking about my Eurovisionathon TBR, and I also talked about the first week and my first week update. So I will quickly go over those because I feel like I don't need to talk about them loads, and I'm already a minute into the video and I need to talk faster. So first book I read was The Last Bear by Hannah Gold, which was for Norway, which I gave 5 stars. I cried, it's beautiful, it's up here. If you want to know more about it, go to the other video. That's what I'm going to say for the next 7 to 8 of these books. Absolutely adore this book so much. You should go read it. It's beautiful, it's middle grade, about polar bear, Arctic, beautiful language, beautiful emotions. One of my favourite books this year so far. Obviously this one, Song for a Whale, is also included in one of my favourite books as well this year. The second book I read was for Belgium, and that was a 5-star read as well, and it was Medal for Leroy by Michael Morpurgo. Michael Morpurgo is an amazing children's author as it is. This book was set in World War II, about a man and his ancestors, and a man who is black, and he fought in the war but was never recognised for it because of his colour, and it's about trying to get him recognised. It's based off a true story as well, so if you're interested in that, you can find out more about that as well from the book. Right, number 3, Ukraine, 5 stars. It was an audio book, The Winter Horses by Philip Kerr. This was amazing. Not an audiobook person, and I keep saying that, and then I find audiobooks I love. This one was beautiful. I don't know a lot about Ukraine. I don't know a lot about the Soviet Union and the Soviet Union's occupation of Ukraine, and a lot of these books I found more information about the Soviet Union that I didn't quite know, and I learned more about the countries that had the Soviet Union and Germany, and they were kind of torn and stuck in between 2 not very nice people. It's about these horses called the Swarovski horses, if I can say that correctly, and these horses are very rare. They're still quite rare today, and the Germans at that time thought they were inferior, so they tried to include them in their cleansing that they did, and so then these horses became less and less. It's based off some historical facts. Obviously it's a fiction book, so there's quite a few liberties taken with that. Amazing book, made me cry. Quite a few books made me cry in this list. Number 4 was Austria, and I read My Story, Marie Antoinette by Catherine Lasky. Now these books are a big huge series with loads of different authors that are written in the sense of a diary about historical figures or characters in historical times, and this one was about Marie Antoinette. It was good, I enjoyed it, and I learned a bit more about the French royal family at that time, but 3 stars because it didn't rock my world, basically. Number 5, The House with Chicken Legs for Russia. Russia's book. Oh, 5 stars. I really love this. It's by Sophie Anderson, who also wrote The Girl Who Speaks or Spoke Bear, which I read before reading this one, but I think it came out after that one. The House with Chicken Legs made me want a house with chicken legs. It's a retelling of like Baba Yaga, and it's based off a girl who is set to be a guardian of like the undead's next step after life, and she has to kind of learn more about herself and learn about her destiny, I guess. Number 6, Finland, it was a 2-star. It was Things That Fall from the Sky from Selja Ahava. It talks about destiny and fate and things like that. And it was really nice, but it wasn't my type of book, so that's why it's got 2 stars. Next one, Clover Moon, 5 stars UK, Jacqueline Wilson. Jacqueline Wilson book, I mentioned this quite a lot. I love Jacqueline Wilson, always have, and I just enjoy them. Set in the Victorian period and chef's kiss. 8, The Orphan Sky by Ella Lever. I can't read my own writing, in Azerbaijan. I give this like a 2.5 stars. It's based in Azerbaijan. I don't want to insult people that I am just awful at saying words. I'm not trying to insult, I just can't say words. Azerbaijan, and it's about a girl who is part of the Communist Party, very involved in the Communist Party, and she's a pianist, and her realising maybe the world she lives in is not what she thought it was. I did enjoy the book, but when you don't know classical music and you are not classically musically inclined, it's quite hard to understand, and it talks about classical composers and things that I have no idea about, so I found it really hard to actually get into the book. Plus, when you're telling me a door is shut with a DFG flat or something or other, I have no idea what that means. It doesn't add anything to the story. It just creates a barrier and makes me feel separate from the story, and I can't get into it and access it. And so then I can't enjoy it because I can't even get into it. So that's why I kind of gave it a 2 star. Yeah, 2 star. Even though I did love parts of it and I learnt a lot from it, maybe a 3 star, maybe. But yeah. Number 9 was Island, and that was 3 stars, and I read The Marble Collector by Cecilia Rahan. This was actually really enjoyable. I think I might unhaul it anyway because I might not read it again. It's about the history of a family, and one of them loses their memory, and it's kind of unveiling history secrets. Family historical secrets. It was really enjoyable, and it talks about quite a few difficult topics. 3 stars because it didn't rock my boat, but I enjoyed it. 10. Did I say 9 last time? No, 8. 10. I am on 10 now. Heidi by Johanna Spiri for Switzerland. I just had to read this because I've never read it before, and I gave it 4 stars. I adored it. It's just such a lovely little story and really just heartwarming. It's one of those classics that I just think never get old. For some reason, I used to think that the girl in the wheelchair, Clara, I might be wrong here. I used to think that she got shoved off the mountain as well. I don't know how I got that in my head. I don't know where it's come from. I was expecting to be darker than it was, and it was nice that it wasn't so dark. Just makes me want to go to Switzerland. A lot of these are very cold environments, and I'm noticing like Norway and Ukraine, in the woods of Ukraine, and the winter, and like winter-esque places, and I'm all for it. In all honesty, it's just making me really happy. 11, I read Beauty and the Beast, the original, which is, I've got like a really nice fancy copy up there somewhere. This is obviously for France, and it's by Gabriella Suzanne Barbeau de Villeneuve. I'm going to fail pronouncing that, so I apologise. I gave it 3 stars actually. It's my favourite Disney movie, and I do love it. But the original fairy tale is quite a slog, and I wasn't quite expecting that. There was things and elements that I really enjoyed, and things I learnt from it about the story that I never learnt before. Like, did you know that actually Belle and the Beast are actually related? No, neither did I. But it was enjoyable and it's good, but I felt like I was pushing myself through it quite a bit. And it's hard because it's a very beautiful copy with interactive elements and beautifully typed out, but it's quite a slog, that one. Right, next one, number 12. On to my next sheet of paper now. So number 12, I read Lithuania. I read Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Septius, and I gave it 5 stars, based around World War II. I think it's World War II, yeah, it is World War II. And Germany and the Soviet Union and that kind of aspect. And heartbreaking, cried a lot, and really, really beautiful. And I think it's really important to read and to talk about, and I've heard about this book for so long and haven't got around to reading it, but it's one of those books that is so beautiful. And it's these sort of things we need to not forget. We need to not forget the terrible things that are done to these people, and there are terrible things still going on in the world, and we just need to realise that we can't allow these things to happen. It was really heartbreaking, but 5 stars because it was a beautiful book. The next one I read was for Albania, and I read The Doll by Ismail Kader, and I gave it 1 star. It has a lot of great reviews, and it's meant to be like this beautiful kind of metaphorical thing in it as well. I just found it really meh. It was quite a short read. It wasn't for me, and that's how I rate most of these books, on my enjoyment at the time. So 1 star is it really wasn't for me, and some other people might enjoy it, but I don't. So the next one is 14, and this was a buddy read with a few people like Helen of Helen's Bookhaven. I might have got that incorrect. We read it as like a buddy read with some of us on Twitter with the Eurovisionathon, and we had like a little Twitter chat, and we read The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton, which was for Netherlands. I really enjoyed this book until the ending. I felt the ending was a bit lackluster. I loved how there were so many twists and turns, and it was like quite dramatic and drama and things I wasn't expecting to happen. However, the title and the blurb of The Miniaturist doesn't quite fit in with the story. I feel like there's this whole other story going on, and that miniaturist part was like a tiny sideline to the actual story, and it just felt like someone added it on, and it didn't feel like that was the focus, and it kind of misled me to think the story was something that it wasn't. But I did really enjoy it. It's just, it was a bit misleading about what the book was going to be about. Number 15, I've changed some of these books, if you might notice in a minute, from my TBR, just because either they were too short, what was available at the time, or if I found a book that I really wanted to read. This one was for Poland, and I read it knowing that Poland wouldn't get through the semi-finals, but I just really wanted to read it. It just sounded so good. And there is a theme with the couple of these 3 that I've just read to do with dolls. This one is A Doll Maker of Krakow by R.M. Romero, set around World War II and the German occupation of Krakow and Poland, and set from kind of the point of view of a doll who is made and by this doll maker, and who becomes friends with the doll maker and some other children. And it's just beautiful. I really loved it, and the book is decorated really beautifully, and it is a children's literature and children's fiction book, but it talks about it in a beautiful way. And I haven't heard many people talk about this, and I really think you should go look it up, because it's a really beautiful way to look at Poland and the German occupation of Poland, but in a child-friendly way. I would say like upper key stage 2, and looking at through like a completely different point of view of being a doll. Really beautiful, and it has magical elements to it as well. Yeah, I love that one. 5 stars. 16 was for Iceland. Now my Iceland one was too short. I didn't realise. I thought I checked it all, but that was actually too short. And I read one that someone else read, and it's kind of a just about Iceland kind of book, and that was The Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell, which I actually have here. That one was absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed it. That I have actually ordered the rest of the series because I loved it so much. It's set in like an explorer adventures. It gives you the old explorer kind of vibes to it, and the Arctic aspect and the cold environment. A lot of female empowerment and getting girls, and focusing on like girls being adventurers, and girls get to do all those things that you'd have in the olden days that boys would get to be the ones doing the adventures, whereas in this the girls get to do it too. I really loved it. 5 stars. Then I read number 17. I read The Demigod Files by Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson. This was a really short book for Greece. It's 3 stars. I was running out of time and wanted to fit a few more books in. It was a really lovely book. It just made me, I haven't read the Percy Jackson in a couple of years, and it just made me love being back in the world. And there was a couple of short stories and a couple of fact files, and it was just really nice to be back in the Percy Jackson world. Number 18, I think I actually read these the other way round, but I read them on the same day, so Goodreads always puts them in whatever order it fancies. I read My Story, which is another one of those stories where it's like a diary entries in the historical time. My Story Pompeii for Italy by Sue Reed. Annoyingly, my book that was meant to come for Italy didn't come on the day it was meant to come. It came literally an hour before Eurovision ended, so I started reading this one instead. This is a diary entry about Pompeii and a girl who lives in Pompeii and the lead up and eventually to Vesuvius yeah. So I really enjoyed this. I've always been intrigued by Pompeii, always wanted to go and visit, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I read 18 books for Eurovisionathon, which is amazing. I'm getting so good at reading lately, I just can't stop. But then I am reading a lot of children's fiction, so I don't know if that's why. So 18 books. Now we will go through the points system as well. I've only got a few minutes to do this because it cut out at 20 minutes last time. I don't know why, or maybe I'm just having too many pictures on my phone. Right, so the winners of Eurovision were obviously Italy with their song, and I am going to quickly go through mine. So I have got a couple that weren't through the semi-final. So Austria didn't get through, Ireland didn't get through, and Poland didn't get through. So that was 3 that I didn't have that went through. So 15 of mine went through. The UK gave me no points whatsoever because we're UK. We got no public vote and no jury vote, which was hilarious, but also like but I also think our song wasn't the best. Like, it was a good song if you were thinking about chart songs, but in terms of Eurovision, it's not Eurovision-esque. I read quite a few. I'm not going to go through the points of each individual one. I read quite a few of the high pointers, and yeah, in total I got the points of 3,374, and I became 7th in the whole Eurovisionathon that we did, which I'm really actually quite proud of, considering the fact that I haven't read so much in so long, and this just got me back into reading. So yeah, I love this readathon. I really can't wait till next year. I've heard that someone might be doing an Olympic readathon, which is right on my street at the moment. It's made me read books that have been on my bookshelf for a long time and made me want to get on and read a lot more of them and rethink how I'm doing my reading at the moment. So there's that, and also made me want to buy more books. So my favourite songs for the Eurovision, we'll leave on that. I just wanted to share my favourite songs. So my favourite songs were Malta and Je me casse. There's the one book I didn't read. I actually DNF'd the book because it wasn't for me and I'd never had time to find another book that I wanted to read. I loved Iceland. I think it's 10 years. I loved Russia, Greece, Azerbaijan, Norway, and Netherlands. They were my kind of favourite ones, but it was such a fun night. We were all watching it. We were all like, we had a little chat for Eurovisionathon, so Helen made a whole chat for the people who were part of it, and we were chatting as we were going along it. It was just such a lovely community event, and as someone who I kind of struggle a little bit to feel a part of something, and it felt really lovely to feel a part of something and just having people to chat to, because obviously I'm at work all day long and I'm working with children, etc., and it's just nice to have time away from that and just be able to have a fun chat and just talk about the music that's going on, talk about the books. Yeah, so in general I have absolutely loved this readathon, and I want to thank Helen for doing this. I've had so much fun. I've read so many books I didn't think I would enjoy that I did. So many books that have been on my shelf for so long. Yeah, it has been amazing. If you are on BookTube or not on BookTube or Twitter, whatever, and you are a big reader, I really recommend looking out for it next year for the next year's announcement, and I really recommend joining in as well. It really tests your reading and makes you kind of more a flexible reader. You get to try new things and read outside your comfort zones and just read amazing books. I think I'm almost finished. So thank you all for watching, and let me know if you've read any of these books, etc, etc, and like and subscribe and all that biz. So see you later. Bye.